Radio or not, here we come. Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to Grace Westminster live stream. My name is Konstantin. We are gathering here weekly at 2:15 British Standard Time or Summertime, whatever you name it, to talk about Nikon things. And today, first of all, tell me, how's the audio and video? Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? But today, we're going to do this once a year live stream where we talk about film photography in name the year. So in this case, it's going to be 2025, where we're going to talk about basically what's been released this year, how things been updated, how you get to know. Are you shooting film at all? Do you think film is still expensive to shoot? All this stuff. We're all going to discuss this in a live chat. If you are watching it and you're not in a live chat, come and join us in a live chat, because there's a bunch of good people in there that love photography. They don't really like film photography, but they like photography in general. Some of them do like film photography, but they join me every week and we talk all sorts of things in there. So if you have any questions, first of all, ask me them in the live chat by putting by putting QQQ at the front of the question. And that helps me to filter the chat and see what you're asking me. Coffee font is open. I don't have any coffee on me right now, but I had a cup just before that, so that's good. And hello everyone in the chat. We got Jacob here, John Hughes, who actually predicted this live stream, because he said, hello Konstantin and everyone from bright North Yorkshire. Time to, but put some coffee on, no more film. What he saw was something Nikon cover, because I just put it as a placeholder, and I was working on the cover, and as soon as I saw it, I updated it to film photography one. So I'm sorry, John. I know it's not your cup of tea or coffee, but we have to do it once a year at least, and we're going to do it today. So for some of you who are brave, thanks for sticking with me. For some of you who don't find it interesting, well, that's your loss, really, but thanks for joining anyway, or not joining anyway. So we will see you next week. But that's absolutely fine, because at the end of the day, we want to cover all sorts of and aspects of photography, so not just digital as well. So that's what it is. So we've got Ian Mooson, Roy Bixby, Magnus Norden, Tim Herring, Christoph Clark's here, fantastic. A lot of people, Paralyzed, Len Oshman, Paul P, Rick Getty, Colin Murphy. How have you got your Nikon S4, I think, that you bought on the last live stream? How are you getting on with it? Have you shot film with it? Let me know in the comments below. The reason I was running a bit late is because we just got this baby in, and it's a Nikon F2 Titan, and it's in beautiful condition. So I would call it mint, really, maybe mint with a tiny minus, and it's the only mark that I can actually see on it is, you see that battery check button. Oh, well, actually, it's not battery check, it's a prism release button. So because it was pushed, so there's a mark in there, but it's absolutely beautiful box with all the paperwork. So we were chatting downstairs about this camera. So it doesn't have the price yet, so it just arrived, but beautiful piece of equipment. So I'm just going to leave it here for you. The question I had for you as well in the chat is, obviously, I know that a lot of you are digital photographers, and I mean it's fine. It's easy to say that most of photographers will shoot digital nowadays. The majority of photographers will shoot digital nowadays, but I know that a lot of you are buying film cameras, and they buy them to put them on the shelf. So they collect them, the cameras that maybe they used back in the past and have good memories about them. Or some of you are keen collectors and buying equipment in a pristine mint condition to go on the shelf and to add to your collection of all interesting photography gear. But let me know, are you actually, when you buy film cameras, are you actually using them, or you just collect them? Let me know in the comments below as well. So who else is in the chat here? We've got John Rayleigh, Gray Lawn, Richard Harland, Andy Hayter, All the Higher Angler, Nigel Sutton, Jim Orsetti, fantastic. Personnelman, Dave Walker, did I miss anyone? Colin Brahma, Robert M, Joe Vlogs, Jay Blue, fantastic. Michael Ledley, Ray Red. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat. That's absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much, Jay Blue, who says, Happy Friday, Con. No coffee today. Well, I had one, and then I had to run late. So because we were talking about this, I had to just go up, and I forgot to take all my cups with me. So it's fine. I'll survive. And you know what? After that, I'll have a pint of coffee. and I'll enjoy that. Speaking of film cameras and photographic equipment, there's a Photographica on Sunday in London. It's near Russell Square. Normally, Photographica is a big photography fair where a lot of sellers bring in their vintage equipment. I think there's some digital, but mostly film equipment from, let's say, very early cameras and small formats to large formats, let's say 8x10s, you name it, and everything in between. So it's going to be there. I'm going to be there as well. It's exciting. So I haven't done Photographic, I think, in the last 5 years. The last one I did was, I think they used to do one right next to Gray's Westminster. It's about 3 minutes walk, so in Pimlico area. So in a school, which was a great place it's like a beautiful place with a high ceiling. So I haven't been to Russell Square, but I'm gonna go there on Sunday. So if you're there, come and say hello. You will see me. Don't worry, you won't miss me. I'll have a table. That's what it is. But it's good. Also, lots of things happening in like photography related in London at the moment. So there's obviously yearly Photo London at Somerset House. Which is basically a big fair of art photography, and Nikon is sponsoring this event for the last, I think, 5 or 10 years or so, but very long time. And they announced Emerging Photographer of the Year, so they announced one on Wednesday. I was there for the announcement, met lots of Nikon folk, including Richie as well. So he's saying hello to you all. He's saying sorry for that he can't be here because apparently he's traveling a lot. He's spending a lot of time in Europe, so he doesn't really spend time in UK nowadays. He's so busy, but he says that if he's in London for whatever reason on Friday and he has nothing to do, he will stop by and say hello to us on a live stream. So that's what it is. But yes, Photo London, definitely, it runs I think till end of Sunday again. So you can, it's at Somerset House, very central. If you're in London or you're close, definitely pop in. It's quite strong work. I normally buy books on those, so this year as well I got a couple of books as well, so very happy about this. One interesting book I found, which I haven't seen before, is called The Curator's Guide to Exhibitions, and it goes through the process for photographers or artists to to how to actually get in touch with the galleries to represent you, what's to write in the artist statements, all sorts of little things that really is not talked about. Like if you ever been in the photography and art space of photography and you want to get into that space, there's very little information available. So I'm really glad that such book exists. So I bought one for myself. I'm gonna read it probably on the weekend. Definitely looking forward to do that. And then there was on Wednesday and Thursday there was a broadcasters exhibition in was it Olympia? It's called MPTS. And yeah, Nikon had a stand there together with Red cameras. So that is MPTS. I'll tell you what it stands for if I would know. Something media production technology show. So a lot of videography stuff is there. So quite cool. So this is out of the way. We're going to talk about film photography. And I want to see your comments first. So let's see. Let's start from the beginning. I see the chat is buzzing, which is fantastic to see. Normally, when I was afraid when we're going to talk film, half of you is going to be, well, first of all, film photography expensive. Second of all, I like digital, this type of comments. And then it's going to be quiet. So I'm glad that actually we have some enthusiasm about film photography in 2025 in the chat here. And let's see what people say. So Paralyson says, good afternoon. Maybe it's time to get out my Voigtlander Vitomatic for a ride. Definitely do this. Shoot a nice roll of film through it. I think you will enjoy it. Let's see. Hello, Rick. Good to see you. Paul P says, I'm still learning OM40i, F5, and 500cm. Well, OM Olympus are great cameras. I have OM1 myself still. I haven't used it for a while. I think it needs probably refoaming. It's been in some sort of storage box for quite a while, but I think I have 28mm on it as well. Zuiko. Which is Olympus brand of lenses. Great cameras. And, if you want to have a small camera similar to FM series, FE series, Nikon cameras, those are good to go. And they're fairly inexpensive nowadays as well. Obviously, F5 is the king of SLRs. Obviously, arguable, but it is what a lot of people put on a pedestal. And Hasselblad 500 CM is absolute classic. And to be honest with you, I played with Hasselblads, in my time, but I haven't owned one. So I think it's going to be a time where I'm going to have one, because I do have Pentax, Mamiya, Bronica cameras. I think it is time. Fujifilm cameras even as well. So I think it's time for me to get a Hasselblad at some point. Never been a fan of square format. I can tell you that, but it's one of those photographic challenges. I can tell you that. Speaking of photographic challenge, so we kind of discussed this last week, right? And we kind of thought, okay, maybe we do pet photography and, maybe something else. But then I had my first submission. It came from Arnie, and she just emailed me. It's Bataleni, that's the Italian name. He's told me how to pronounce it. And he sent me his first submission of pet photography. So, beautiful, beautiful submission, shot on film, by the way. But I do feel like, you know what, let's do a pet photography. So I think it's going to be quite good. It's quite going to be quite enjoyable, I think, for all of us. And it's fairly straightforward. Go out, take photographs of your pets or someone else's pets. And I think that's going to be fun. I've got a shot, let's say, that I've taken of my dog. Her name is Tilly. It was shot on film very recently, and that was shot on Kentmere 200 film, which was announced last 2 weeks ago now. So that was quite fun. Obviously, if you've got dogs and cats and all sorts of moving creatures, you'll definitely enjoy that. But don't be afraid to take photographs of someone else's pets. You can always ask for permission, and I'm sure that people won't mind that, especially if you'll share them photographs that you've taken. And obviously, you guys have fancy lenses with beautiful bokehs. This is, by the way, a Voigtlander F mount, f40mm f2 lens, and it's absolutely stunning lens. I love it to death. It sits on my FM3A permanently, I really enjoy that. So this is kind of for you to, just to show you what you can submit, and I'm gonna show you the Kentmere 200 shot on Pentax 6.7 as well on medium format. So have a look at that as well. But yes, I want to see your pets. I want to see some beautiful shots of any pets, of any animals. I guess we're not going to call wildlife pets, so maybe not that. Maybe you're going to have a wildlife next time. Yes, I think, it's a good time for us to start a new challenge. All you have to do is email your photographs, size for 1080p format of the live stream, with the subject of the letter pet photography challenge or photography challenge, and you need to email it to media@graysoverwestminster.co.uk, media@graysoverwestminster.co.uk. And yes, I'll answer in the chat. Obviously, if you can tell me the story behind that shot, that would be absolutely amazing. And let's probably plan a showcase for the end of June, I think. So let's do that. And thank you everyone who participated in my hometown challenge as well, which we had showcased last week, and Daniel Cruz helped me out with that. So really appreciate that. So that is out of the way. Again, let's look at your comments again. So I'm just going to quickly start from the beginning, and hopefully I'll catch up with this. So Paul P says, today's film, what next, Con? Cine with Bolex and Ariflex. Paul, I would love to do some Cine. Like at the moment, I'm kind of getting to cine space myself. I shoot a lot of video on my Blackmagic full-frame camera with beautiful Nikon F-mount lenses on it, and I really enjoy it. So I really enjoy using it. I would love for us to discuss those things. So if there is interest in that, maybe it's gonna be, maybe why won't we do this? So let me know, Paul, if you would be interested in that. So but that would be challenge for me as well, because I am learning and reading a lot about nowadays about cinematography in general, and there's lots of books about just movies around. So that's what I'm really enjoying in my spare time as well. All right. Greg Logan says, I have many archival binders of negative and transparency sleeves pages from 30 plus years of shooting film before transitioning to digital. Doubled in camera scanning, but need to find the best system. Well, Greg, I mean, the idea is I think you have to start somewhere. And, when you start your scanning, as long as you label your folders correctly or you tag them correctly, maybe date and description, things like this, whatever works for you. That would be a good way to start. So basically, the way I do my film photography, I label it exactly the same as I would do my digital photography. So it's separated by year, month, and date generally, or year, month, and event. So let's say if today is May 2025, so it would go into 2025 folder, then it would be in 05 May folder. And then if it's one day event, then it would be the date, then dash and the name of the event, let's say film photography live stream. Or if it's, let's say, a trip over a week, then I put, like a date, a year, a month, and then let's say trip to Europe. Let's say, so something like this. So make it work for you, and don't worry, start slowly and work your way through. I've been scanning on my scanner for the last 5 years as well, and it's a mixture of old archived work, rescanning all those, and film that I shoot nowadays. So let's say like this Kent Mir 200 had to be shot, developed, and scanned pretty much really quickly. So, but getting access to a good scanning setup, that's a good start. And if you have questions about scanning setups, we can talk about this as well in this chat. I think, let's discuss your thoughts. If you were interested in doing film photography, like what scares you really? What are you afraid of? Let's say what kind of questions you have that you're not sure where to get answers. So do ask me in the comments, in the live stream, in the chat. So I'll be happy to answer them. All right, let's go further down the road. Nigel Southern says, 2 magic words for me, Velvia and Provia. Well, Nigel, I think both are absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Velvia is vivid. It's Velvia for vivid. Provia is obviously a little bit more neutral. Both are beautiful film stocks. Both are still in productions, but in very, very short supply. So I can tell you that the shipments that we are getting is basically small shipments every 6 months. And we're talking about maybe like 20, 30 units. And, you normally get a little bit more on 35mm, you get less on medium format. But they're still in production, which is amazing. And you can still get E6 development chemicals. I know Jobo is doing E6 kit. I think it's about £100. And it will give you, I think, about something like 15 to 20 rolls. There's more labs. There are more labs in UK. And I'm sure that in the United States and all over the world will develop E6 now, but the turnover is, unfortunately, is much slower, and the reason for that being is obviously there's a lot less film shot with E6 process, so E1 Actochrome E100s and Velvis Provias, and because of that, they generally try to not to process one roll one by one. They would process them in batches, and that's the reason why normally it takes a bit of a longer time, because they're waiting, let's say, for 510 to come in. They'll process them at the same time, and then they'll send them out. So that's how it works. But I agree with you; those are beautiful, beautiful film stocks. I love them, and I do love Actochrome as well. The offering from Kodak it's more freely available, to be honest with you. It's always available. That's the good news. But for Fujifilm, unfortunately, yes, we all have to wait. I know all about that really, really well, just talking to suppliers, but they're not discontinued, and this is the most important thing to know, because there's a common misconception that Fujifilm stopped the production of their Velvia and Provia film stocks. They haven't. So if Provia is available in 100 ISO, Velvia is available in 50 and 100 ISO, so which is good. Let's have a look in the chat here. Roy is in the chat. Thank you very much. Good to see you. I've read the comment and I thought it was from you. So, don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. But I agree with you. Those old film cameras are beautifully made. They still take digital backs. And that's absolutely amazing because, obviously, like you can now buy, like Hasselblad back is obviously the most common. You can buy it now. You can stick it on, let's say, even Hasselblad 500 cm. And if you want to use, that, you can do that. You lose the magic of film. And there is something magical about it, but you can still use those and still have this kind of mechanical feedback. That's what a lot of digital cameras don't give you nowadays, you know, so because everything is automated. It's not bad, it's just automated. It's a different approach to things, I would say. All right, let's go further down the chart here. Rigetti says, just got into pan kit for my Pentax 6.7, so want a Fuji TX1 or pan, but don't want to spend money for the camera. Should be fun weekend. Yes, the Hasselblads and Fuji TX1s or XT1s, they're very expensive. I agree. It's we had one in the shop, actually. Someone traded in a couple of years ago. It's an interesting camera, definitely enjoyable. But yes, Pentax 6.7, you can just buy adapters, as far as I remember, you know, which is not very expensive. If you got a 3D printer, you can 3D print a lot of things nowadays with those printers, and they're not that expensive nowadays. So, you know, and they're getting better. I bought my 3D printer during the COVID time, and I can tell you that printer from, let's say, 2021, they're not as good as printers nowadays. You know, so if you look at like Bambu Lab and Prusa printers, they're a lot more plug and play compared to the printers from 2021. I can tell you that. So much easier to learn. That's the thing. When I started, it was, yeah, like if you know what you're doing, then you're going to spend another hour troubleshooting everything. That's the thing. But you can 3D print a lot of things nowadays. Like if you do DSLR scanning, you can buy an expensive DSLR scanning kit, but you can also 3D print those holders yourself with the printer if you want to. So that's the thing. Jim Orsetti is obsessed with shooting film. Jim, what are you shooting? What equipment are you using? What's your favorite film stock? Let me know in the comments below. Ian White says, expensive, but it's so much fun. Wait and see if done it perfectly. That's the thing. Like, I'm always puzzled when people say shooting film is expensive, because guys, you bought Z8 at $3,000 and lenses at £2,000, and then, you know, like you're gonna spend, like, a lot of you are buying expensive things. You know, I'm not saying all of you, but a lot of you are using expensive digital equipment. And we're talking like several £1,000s, you know. And then you tell me film is expensive, where you can buy a black and white film for £5 a roll, you know. So some film is expensive. You can make it expensive if you want to. Color film can be bought for £8-9 a roll as well. So that's the thing. And you're not going to spray and pray with film as you would do with digital. I personally think digital is a different approach to things, but you can keep film inexpensive, as inexpensive as you want, and you can keep it as expensive as you want. And I think digital photography is the same thing. But if we are in that bubble, you know, that we talk about what Nikon announced next, and, you know, oh, Nikon is going to announce Z9 Mark II, and we're talking about a camera that's probably going to cost £5,000, £6,000, and that's not expensive, you know. So that's kind of where I was always puzzled about this thing, because yes, you can spend and buy, let's say, my Mi 7 on eBay for £3,000 and shoot, yeah, medium format, you know, things like this. But you can also get a nice camera, like at a fair like Photographica, let's say, or somewhere on a local Facebook marketplace for peanuts, really. And then, you know, it will come with a lens already, you can start to shoot. So this is all relative. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So, you know, like both of those points are correct, if you see what I mean. But it doesn't need to be expensive. That's my point being. All right, let's go further down the chat and see what you guys are saying. Colin Brahma says, I've been traveling 36 hours already, only 14 hours left. Good luck, Colin. Hopefully you're going to have a good rest after this. Andy says, not too bad to buy film. Commercial development is expensive. Yes and no. I can only judge by UK, you know, scene. That's where I'm in. And I can tell you that, let's say, development of film can be had as low as, let's say, £4.50 a roll for development only. Black and white is about £5 a roll for development only. Obviously, different places will charge more, but this is kind of a starting point. Scanning as well is, let's say, you can get your film scanned and developed for about £10 a roll. It's not too bad. It's not so bad. That's the thing. Again, it depends how you're going to shoot. If you are shooting 20,000 shots a year on your digital camera, film is going to be expensive. But for me personally, I do struggle to finish 36 frames rolls. If you got something like Pentax 17, which is a half frame camera, you got 72 shots. For me, it's personally, it's a bit too much. That's the thing. As Gray was saying that back in the day, let's say you get the film developed, and on the same film of 36 rolls, you would have your summer holiday, something in between, and your Christmas holiday on one roll of film, so that's kind of what it is. But yes, obviously, if you're sports photographer, if you're wildlife photographer, there's definitely, like cheaper to shoot per mile, let's say per frame, to go digital, because you're going to end up with a 50,000-60,000 shots if you're wedding photography, etc. But as, let's say, we have people shooting film commercially here, like David, the drunk wedding photographer, he shoots film as well, but he budgets for this and he charges their clients specifically that he's shooting film. So, and clients are happy to pay for this. So there's different way to approach it, I would say. But again, Andy, you just have a look around, shop around, see, like I don't know what the United States costs are for film development, but in UK it's reasonable, I think. But yes, you can find places they will charge you a fortune. That's for sure. There's high-end places as well that will charge you more, but you're paying for the high-end place, so I assume the quality is much better. I'm not sure, but but you'll charge for they will charge for the name. All right, let's go here. So Roy Big says, I miss film mailers. They're still available. Have you got a film lab where you are in Australia? Check them. They may still have them, because Kodak still makes those. I can tell you that. I saw one the other day. Let's go down the road. Sanoy Nimbus is in the chat, says, hi, I have one old and one new Polaroid. I have one Nikon F3, and also I got the first SLR I ever used for from my father, and an old Chinon camera. Yeah, I've seen those. They're still around. And got back my first slab from my brother, Minolta XG1. Well, Minolta is now owned by Sony, so Sony bought Minolta. So effectively, you had the OG Sony cameras in a way. My first camera was my father's camera. It was Zenith camera, which I still have it. It's broken, but I still have it. It's a memory for me more than anything else. But that's how I got into photography. And my first proper camera was Nikon F100, which I spent the summer working in New York to earn that amount of money. It was $5.99, $6.99 plus whatever US tax, and that was a lot of money for it. And I didn't know there was a tax there. I came in and I bought some Sigma lens with it or something, 24 to 105 or something, and they told me, oh yeah, it's something like $800, and then plus VAT, and it was like 900 something, and that was really painful at the time. When you are young, when you're in 20s, and you have to earn your own money, that was a lot of money for me. But this F100 is still with me, and I have a very, very soft spot for Nikon F100 camera in my heart, and I can tell you that if F100 is still very underrated camera, so you can pick one up again for a son compared to something like F5 or F6s. And it's got an amazing autofocus, and it's got your two-wheel front command, back command dial control, so you can change your apertures on your G lenses, F-mount lenses. So it will do all that. So if you like to shoot, let's say, like, well, it was a reporter's camera, so like I photographed protests in New York back in the day. So with this, that was the camera I bought it for. So great camera, reasonably inexpensive for today's standards, like even compared to like FM series cameras. Yeah, it's a good choice. My recommendation. Joe Vlog says, I shot film for 20 years and now digital for 20 years. So I'm 50-50 on film. This is the funny thing. This is what I want to talk to you about. So Ilford released their photography survey, film photography survey. Of course, I won't find it now. Let's have a look. Here we go. And basically, there was a question. So I can tell you, so how many people filled out this survey? Let's find this. So 14,000 people from 110 different countries completed Ilford survey. And the current age of photographers who are shooting film is, so the majority, 30%, are in the age between 25 and 34. The next group is over 20% is 35 to 44. Then we got 18 to 24 group, about the same as 45 to 54, about 10%. And then we got 50 plus at about 10%, then goes down. So it's an interesting thing that I found. Why is it interesting? It just tells you that a lot of young people who actually haven't experienced film photography, they come to it. So you guys are seasoned photographers. You've started with film. Digital didn't exist. So you went through your pains, of shooting film, receiving the blank rolls of film, all sorts of things happening with camera, exposure things, developing failures, all sorts of things, and then scanning. Young generation of people who actually never started with photography, they came in from digitally. For them, as a novice. And it's a very interesting development, and it's in a way, like I hate this vinyl analogy, but actually the reason why vinyl exists still is not because, let's say, older age group buys it because we have nostalgia. No, it's because youngers love the format, so that's the thing. And obviously nowadays I think film photography exists is because the younger generation discovering film, and shooting film. And that what brings the photography alive. But that means that for people like us who shot film, who started with film and then, now shoot digital, we can still have the benefits of, we still have film on the shelves. And I think that's absolutely incredible. Obviously, we've got several films announced this week, this year as well. So Harman announced Red, and obviously that is... that's the film that is based on Phoenix, effectively, and it gives you this red scale image, which is quite interesting. So that came this year, and obviously last year they released Harman Phoenix. We also have Kent Mia 200 that was released fairly recently as well, and that one, as soon as I find it, I'll show it to you. That's a black and white film, which is quite interesting. And then we also have a new film that's supposed to be released very, very soon, and it's called Lucky 100 film, and it's Lucky 200 actually, and that comes from a Chinese manufacturer called Lucky Film. I don't know if it's all showing now. Let me just double check on that real quick. Let me see. It is showing. That's good news. That's good news. So you can see me. So this is really good because obviously Kent Mia 200 is a new, completely new emulsion. Obviously Harman Red is based on Harman Phoenix. Is effectively what they did is they turned the one side, one film upside down effectively. So you're not shooting on the emulsion side, you're shooting on the back side of the film, and that what gives you this red effect and things like this. But Lucky 200 should be a completely new film. It's not a re-roll of anything, let's say Kodak made or something like this, not a Vision 3 stock. So that's going to be very exciting. Light Lens Stop, Chinese manufacturer of lenses, and they did this very interesting kind of lenses design on all the Leica lenses. They announced that they are developing a new emulsion. And if you go to their blog, there's a good information there as well. So there's a lot of things that are happening in this space. And if it wouldn't be for people shooting film, that wouldn't happen. So they do see potential in that. All right, so let's look at more of your hobbies here. Let's see. There was a comment interesting here that photography is expensive hobby. Let me just find that. All right, too many comments, so I'm just gonna quickly see where it is. We've got Tim here. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Colin says, A3 2002 never been used. It's beautiful. I won't use it, but what I will do is take my 1958 S3 for a spin and show the results. Con, do you develop Pan-F? If not, which black and white do you do? We do develop Pan-F, Colin. So yeah, you can book yourself through the website. So yes, we can develop it. Absolutely no problem. Pan-F is a beautiful film. I really enjoy shooting it. Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate it. Enjoy your coffee. He says my Nikon film cameras is Nikon F6, FTN, Astro, F2IS, F2AS. Beautiful cameras. Absolutely nice collection. Thank you, Tim. Much appreciated. Nigel says, still got my first camera, 1977 Casino CSM. That's a nice camera, and I'm glad you have it. It's always nice. It's always something special about first cameras, isn't it? That's the thing. Roy says, my preference is Nikon F3. It has the most toys. Absolutely. If you can Google F3 accessories chart, you can find this schematic, and it basically will have hundreds of different accessories. Nikon used to have it as a poster as well. I think Gray have it somewhere in his storage. Yes, definitely. You want to have all different heads and all different drives, you name it. So it's got it all. F3 is a beautiful camera if you're into accessories. If you don't need accessories, then potentially, yeah, like cameras like FEs and FM series will do the job, but they don't have a changeable prism. They're not going to build as well, but they will be smaller and lighter. But F3, I think, is yeah, in a way, if you think about the king of manual focus film cameras, yeah, that would be the one. Absolutely. Andy says, my first 85mm film camera was a Lord 4D. I have no idea what that is, but I am going to Google it after. Andy, I definitely appreciate it. Jay Blue says, I ordered a set of Nippon Gaku hot shoe covers from Grays. They're unique. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate it. Those are available on our website. Definitely check them out. They should be there available for purchase. Dirty Photography Club says, I shot film between 1986 and 2002. Did my bit, I think. Digital was still a blessing. I have FA2 and F4 loaded, but can't be bothered really. Just got minty D4S. Has the look sort of. Well, that's the thing, and that's exactly kind of what makes my point about, you know, seasoned folks who started with film and then switched to digital, and then younger generations who discovering film after shooting digital. You know, that's the thing. So you've done your part, well done, and well done, everyone. You know, that's absolutely, you know, big respect for that. It's not, there's no winner there. You know, that's the thing. It's not a competition. Everyone enjoys what they enjoy. I shoot film, as I said many times, for therapeutical purposes. I do enjoy shoot film more because we are reviewing cameras, we are testing digital, we are talking about megapixels, frame rates, focus points on a day-to-day basis. It's engraved in my brain, and it's not enjoyable from my point of view to talk about it and then shoot digitally. So for my, for commercial work, I will choose the medium that I need, and most likely it will be digital. For my personal work, I will shoot film any day because this is what I'm enjoying personally. That's the thing. But everyone is different. You do you, and you enjoy what you enjoy, and that's the thing. There's no right and wrong answer. And that's the beauty of film, like of photography in general. Just everyone does their own thing. As long as you guys enjoying it, you're all welcome to this live stream today, because today we talk film, tomorrow, next Friday we're going to talk digital, I guess, So that's the thing. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say, All right, let's go further down the road. The indicator says Lord 4Z, Rollei SL35, Nikon F2 Photomic. That's a nice progression. That's a really nice progression. Greg L says, Robert M says to Greg L says, I bought Z105 lens, macro lens, and a negative supply light source, a slide holder to dip my slides, worked great. Yeah, so there's several DSLR scanning rigs available. Obviously, negative supply is probably the most expensive of them all. It's probably the best of them all, just because they made really nicely, but you do pay quite a lot for this. If you want something cheaper, there's a Valois system, which is I don't know if you know, there's a company in Finland called Camera Store, spelled with K, just like Constantine spelled with K, or Mortal Kombat. But they have film photography project where they restore the cameras, and they have a huge selection of second-hand film cameras. But they also develop those Valois scanning rings, and they are definitely a lot more affordable than, let's say, negative supply. Again, I wouldn't say one is better than another one, but there's different options available. There are also cheap options available as well. There's one in UK. I forgot the name of it. I'm sure someone will point it in the chat, but you can buy those holders for about 150, the whole setup, etc. So you can do this. The choice of lenses becomes very important when you do DSLR scanning. Make sure that your lenses not just sharp in the center, but they also sharp across the frame. There's no fall off there, because obviously when you scan your negative, you need to make sure that you cover the whole negative, if you see what I mean. So you can do all sorts of things, but effectively you can choose your camera as your digital back, so you can choose any camera with any resolution you want your scan to be, 24 megapixels, 46 megapixels. Do you want to do, pixel shift? You can push it to 200 megapixels, you name it. So, I've done scanning, SLR scanning with the GFX 100S. And I've done the pixel shift thing. You don't really need to do that, but you can do this. But the choice of lenses becomes a lot more important. You want to make sure that it's a high resolving lenses. So let's say for my GFX 100S, I tried Fujifilm macro lenses. They didn't work well for scanning. So I actually bought Pentax 645 204 lens, if I'm not mistaken, and I've adapted to GFX, and that works much better for scanning negatives. So all sorts of things you can do here, and you can be flexible about it. You can also use scanners as well. And I do like my Coolscan 9000. I can tell you that. Pompey says, I photograph with f5 and FG, develop at home. Fantastic. You got cameras from both spectrum, the kind of big, expensive flagship camera, and then entry-level camera, and you can choose whichever you like on the day, which is absolutely incredible. So one is big and heavy, another one is small and light. I assume you develop black and white. Do you develop C41 as well? Let me know in the comments below as well. Eric Laurie in the chat, he says, I have four Nikon F4S cameras, but afraid to say I don't use them anymore. I find film far too expensive today. Shame F4S was up there with Nikon's best cameras. Again, Eric, if you listen to what I was saying before, I don't agree that film is expensive. That's, you can make it. You got the camera already. You can buy a RAW of Kentmere 200 for what, 24 frames is $495, I think. 36 frames $575. For my film is cheap. Color Plus is about £8 or so. It's not that expensive, actually. I mean, if you're thinking buying, let's say, a new digital camera right now with the lens, it's going to be a lot more money than a RAW film and the camera you already have. That's my opinion about this. So again, obviously, there's no right and wrong here. That's the thing. If you do find film expensive, that's absolutely fine. I don't agree with that, though. Okay. Simon talks about pet photography challenge. Says, I will have to borrow my neighbor's dog. My own dog passed away 3 years ago. Oh, well, I'm sure that he or she rests in peace, and I haven't been able to bring myself to get another. I agree with you. I agree with you. I've I still remember my first dog, and I always start to cheer up when I start to talk about him. I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. Christopher Clark says, I'm still starting film. If I take a photo with my ZF, we say ISO 100, aperture 1.8, 250s, would I get the same photo exposure on film? You should be, yes, because ISOs on digital sensitivity of the sensor was designed around ISO sensitivity of film. So yes, so technically ISO 100 on film should give you ISO 100 on digital. That's the thing. Keep in mind that some film likes overexposure than underexposure. So say Harman Phoenix, while rated 200 ISO, the native ISO by a lot of people say is around 125ths. So in this case, you want to overexpose it maybe by 2/3 or something if you're shooting at 200 ISO. So generally film likes light. If let's say on digital we would shoot for highlights, so we don't want to expose the highlights, but we have so much data in shadows. The way the film works is actually we can overexpose quite a bit and film can still retain information highlights, so your clouds. But if we crush our shadows, if we underexpose the shadows, then there won't be any info in there. So this is where let's say different photographic mediums work slightly differently, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, to answer your question is 100 ISO on film should give you the same 100 ISO exposure settings on a digital camera. Thank you, Dave. Said beautiful shot of Tilly. My sister has a female visual, same color, called Pepper. Well, Dave, then you know that they're high energy. Very Velcro, very attentive, but yes, very high energy and need to be stimulated quite a bit. So yes, she's my first adult dog. So obviously we had dogs when we were growing up, but as adults, she's my first one, and yes, we kind of went through the good and bad times, in terms of just raising her and training her and things like this. So yes, but yes, any pet, they're all full of character. They all have their own personality. None of them are the same, that's for sure. We have friends with Vizsla as well, and when we meet them, and they look the same, but they're such different characters, which is quite interesting to see. And when Vizsla meet Vizsla, they just going mental. The way they play with each other, how rough they play, and just running around the field like crazy, it's absolutely mental. But definitely send us your submissions for your pet photography challenge. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I hope it's going to be more than my hometown, and I want to see all your pets, honestly. Always love to see all the cats, all the dogs, all the parrots, fish, everything, So definitely we'll look forward to it. Rigetti says film stock, Kodak Portra 160 to 400 to 800, Kodak Gold, the Fuji stock, Harman, Ilford, Scene Steel, all of them, Vision 3, etc. Makes me dizzy which one to shoot, but all are great fun. Well, Rick, I think that the best way to do it is you shoot one at a time. And then decide what you like and what you don't like. And I think that's the best way, because obviously each film gives you different flavor, if you see what I mean. So, and that's the beauty of that. I think I've shot basically pretty much all color C41 film stocks available. I haven't shot as many black and white film stocks. So, I do love color though, and I genuinely love color in summer. So now is the season of color for me, and normally black and white is it's the period between November and April in United Kingdom, when it's all dull and gray, and that's where I shoot my black and whites. But I do like black and white. As I say, one of my dreams is eventually to set up a darkroom and start to print again, because nothing looks better than black and white printed in a proper darkroom. It just makes so much difference. Again, we photo London in Somerset House. We went there, had two shots. I think we were looking at Salgado shots. He's got the same shot represented in two different galleries. One is printed in a darkroom on a fiber paper. It looks absolutely stunning, and then you have an inkjet print. It's a black and white print in another gallery. The same photograph doesn't look as good, in my opinion. That's the thing. So I do love a hand-printed black and white shot. Definitely, when I will get time, all the time in the world, that's definitely something for me to look forward to. Papa Play says, just got my prints from my lab, photos taken with S3 Millennium Edition and Santa Color 100 film. So lovely. Film is not dead. I agree with you, Papa Plays. So Santa Color 100 is based on Aero Color 4 film, and it's got this nice orange mask to it. So quite a few, if you can't find, let's say, if you haven't tried Santa 100, it's still available. There's other films that do very similar. I think Vashi X also uses the same Aero Color 4. Someone else does this as well. So this particular film stock is available under different brands, so definitely have a look into that as well. But yeah, I agree. Especially for summer, it's absolutely amazing film stock. Kodak Pro Image 100 is also, I think, very underrated and very inexpensive film stock as well. As long as you're happy to shoot at 100 ISO, and as long as you live somewhere nice and sunny, like in London for last months or so, we didn't have any clouds, knocking the wood, but it's been absolutely lovely to shoot color film. And ISO 100 film is absolutely amazing. So, I can recommend very inexpensive film stock as well. CB says, I have 5 shots on my first roll through my Nikon F. May have take some shots of my dog with it. Definitely, pet photography challenge shot on film, you got extra points for that. Absolutely. Roy misses false color infrared film. And then SW8 says, what camera is that in the poster on your left? This is Nikon F, actually. This is Nikon F, but it's got this special holder to it. So it's one of those custom things. If you haven't subscribed to Nikon Owner magazine, this issue about this camera is available digitally. You can join Nikon Owner's magazine. The link is in the description under this video, and you get a digital subscription for £29 with a code called CONLIFE. So if you want to do this, you basically get access to about 80 plus magazines digitally, so that could be worth looking to if you're looking into those rare cameras there. All right. Martin enjoyed today's session. Thank you very much, Martin. I really appreciate it. Andy is afraid of the cost of film. Don't be afraid. We all brave, just, get yourself into it. Just, go with the flow, see how it goes. You only have to buy one roll of film. You don't have to buy, 100 feet of it or something like this. You don't have to buy like pack of 20. Just get one, start with that. And I'm sure that, you'll see how it goes. Jim Orsetti is using his D850 for scanning 35mm negatives. Fantastic choice. Gives you a high res. And I think that's all you need, really. So definitely, there's a lot of talk about how much film can resolve and things like this, but my advice is just take as high-res camera as you can. That way it's good to future-proof, so that way you don't need to rescan them anymore. Speaking of the software, there's a couple of bits of software available. You can obviously do your correction yourself in Lightroom or Photoshop or other bits of software. You just have to reverse curves and play with the channels, red, green, and blue channels. There's paid bits of software that allow you to do that as well. So the most common one and well-known is Negative Lab Pro. That's what I have. I think it's about £100, and you scan your negatives in raw DNG effectively, or NEFs, and then you convert it with this software, and it gives it extra flavor, and it tries to make it, how the film looks like. There's other options available like Filamat Smart Converter as well, so have a look into that, but you can do it for free as well if you want to. So the options are there. Again, you can make it as expensive as you want to. You don't need to, though. A lot of things are free there. Ian asks, any tip for using Bronica ET RSI for the first time? Been using 35mm for a while, but won't go bigger. Bronica ET RSI is a fantastic camera for the price because it's reasonably priced for today's standards of cameras getting expensive. I have one, don't use it as often, but I like it that it's small and portable. Obviously, it's got this what do you call it? The slide cover, the film cover. So you need to take it out before taking the shot, depending on depending on what viewfinder you have. So if you've got a standard viewfinder, then what you see is what you get. Obviously, you can have a waist level finder and things like this. But my advice is really just if you got a light meter, do the metering. Set your ISO, set your shutter speed settings, shoot a roll of film, and it's a good start. I don't think if you know how to use film cameras, you're going to be absolutely fine. You're going to be absolutely fine. With all those cameras, I generally bring my own light meter. I don't even know if ETRSI has a built-in light meter because I haven't used one on mine. That's the thing. But no, it's a fairly straightforward camera, so I don't think, Ian, you will have any issues with this. And it's what I like about them, it's that they're so small. Okay, let's have a look. That's good chat. I mean, it definitely, I can see that, and it just takes me time to catch up with everything. So I'm gonna try to kind of power through that. Ray Bryan is missing Kodachrome. I also miss Kodachrome, and I would love Kodak to release one if that happens. Okay. Let's see. Ted Fellow says, hello, Con. Never stop shooting film. Out this morning at the Boat Museum with my f2A and FM5, HP5 and FP4 films. We'll develop later. Fantastic. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Great film stocks. I think, yeah, if you do like Ilford, and a lot of people say, oh, which film stocks should I try? Definitely HP5 is a classic. FP4, I love it for the contrast. Kent Mir 200 is quite close to FP4. As David Moscora actually noticed first, and then I've looked at this, yes, definitely. FP has a little bit more edge to it, I would say, but it's a little bit more expensive. Definitely both are fantastic. If you like a little bit more modern looking grain, then Delta series is amazing. There's obviously Delta 3200, which is, it's one of those things where if you want to shoot in the dark, that's the one. It is rated, I think, at about 100,000 ISO, though, so keep that in mind. So you can still shoot the 3200, but you'll get better results with 1000 ISO. Okay, let's go down the chart and see what are you saying. Yes, Craig C was saying photography is in general is usually is expensive hobby. There are ways to preserve, there are ways to save or spend in digital or film media. Absolutely, that's exactly the point I was trying to bring across. And thank you, Craig, for kind of making it a little bit more clear for everyone. Absolutely agree with you. Yeah, you can be shooting expensively film, and you can buy the latest and collectible film cameras, etc. So, you can do the same with digital. That's the thing. I mean, if you can buy D700 nowadays for a Sony, it's a beautiful camera. If you need higher resolution sensor, get D600. They're so cheap nowadays, and you get 24 megapixel sensor. Not that far off Z6 image quality, if you see what I mean. So yes, you can do those things. So that's the thing. When we say things are expensive, no, there are ways around it. Absolutely, I agree with you. Okay, let's go down the chart. G Marseille says, I love my Nikon FM3 with 20-35 2.8 lens. Yep, amazing lens. You got aperture rings, which means you can use on this camera. Color Plus recently looks like Gold 200 cheap film to buy. Yeah, Color Plus, what I like about Color Plus is got this, well, like all other film stocks, relatively been upgraded with a kind of, latest grain, etc. So, Color Plus kind of stayed the same throughout the 90s and 2000s. So if you want to have this vintage look, actually, Color Plus is a great film stock to choose. And to be honest with you, personal opinion, I take Color Plus over Gold 200 any day. That's my controversial film opinion. I do love Color Plus. I do love Pro Image 100. So those kind of, like, when I go on holidays, these kind of films go alongside, of course, Portrait selection of Portrait 160 and 400. That's for sure. And the Portrait 100 goes towards my street film photography, where I need to shoot at, let's say, 500 of a second at f8. And in London, to get that speed at that light, you need to push your ISO effectively. So you need to shoot with Portrait 100 films. But yes, Gold Ultra Max are all safe choices, and all fairly inexpensive. That's the thing, compared to portraits, of course. That's the thing. Tiger says using film slows you down and makes you think before pressing the shutter. Well, yes, I agree, because you don't pray and spray. That's the idea behind it. Yes, I agree with you. It's, again, one of the reasons why I prefer to shoot with film, because I think about the shot in a way. So that's the thing. If you approach film as digital, and so you shoot the same amount of shots, so you shoot like on digital, we tend to just shoot a lot, because it's effectively, once you paid for the camera and memory card, it's free basically, isn't it? So with film, you kind of, if you want, especially if you start to go to medium format or large format, it becomes a lot more expensive. So you really have to be more selective. That's the thing. But as I say, yeah, half frame camera, 36 shots gives you 72 on a half frame. That can be used basically as digital, I think, so that's the thing. Yeah, as I say, I struggle to finish 36 rolls of frames of film. Just it takes me definitely quite a bit of time. Hi, do you use alternative printing, digital negative, etc.? Pompey, I don't, I'm afraid. There are companies who can transfer your digital image onto a negative. So Google that. So I've seen that. So have a look at that. Their videos are on YouTube as well about that. So where they project it on the negative and they send you the film with your projected digital image on it. So that's quite fun. Correct says, if you're raised in film, this mindset, muscle memory carries over to digital. Fast frames per second is just another tool with the same approach. I agree with it. Eric is using Nikon SA2 for film digitizing adapter and D850. And yeah, so typically results in larger scan size than standard 400 dpi. I agree with you. You got higher resolution, higher output. Simon is using digital because he's a prolific hobbyist. We all hobbyists, don't worry. Okay, David is asking, Con, do you have you heard of Valoy system to scan the necks? Any thoughts? Looks like an easy way to scan. I have Valoy 360 in our lab. We use it for scanning with borders. So when you want to have perforations on your 35mm, some people ask for this. So we use commercial scanners to scan normal negatives without perforation. But for something like this, we would do a DSLR scan. They're good. All of those systems are good. You need to have a good lens. That's the most important thing. Camera is not that important, but the lens is the most important. Make sure that everything's set up flat. The most the thing they don't tell you about when they try to sell you on those scanning DSLR rigs or mirrorless scanning rigs is, don't forget that you get a lot of dust on your negatives. And the difference between, let's say, commercial scanners or any dedicated film scanners is for color, they get rid of dust. They call digital IC, so dust removal system built into those. The DSLR scanning rings, they don't. So while you can scan your 36mm frame, and that's kind of what they're trying to sell you, or you can scan your film in 1 minute, 30 seconds, and they put a timer on and they go through that. Yes, you can do this. However, there's a high chance that you're going to get a lot of dust in your shots. And that means that you're going to retouch a lot. So for personal use, those scanning rigs are absolutely fine. Because you're going to spend your time on it. From the lab point of view, from the lab perspective, it's not commercially viable to scan 36 frames because you have to remove dust after that. That's the thing. You can create a dust-free environment, but in a commercial setting, to create a perfect dustless room is practically impossible. That's the thing. But I think for the money, it's really good value. You can have a look at the negative supply, but it's double the cost. You can have a look at the cheap options, but I think for the money, Valoy 360 system is quite good. I know they now design a dedicated 35mm system and dedicated 120 system, so you can look into that as well. Depends on what you shoot. I like the 360 system on a personal level, so that's what we have and that's what we use. So, okay. It looks like, oh my God, this is 3:20. Okay, we're going to be wrapping up in 10 minutes, but I'm gonna go through your comments first. Let me see. Rick Getty says, I paid $23 on average to develop in high resolution scans. So I assume that's developing and scanning. Yeah. So I think in UK, like we charge, I think it's £12. So it's a bit cheaper even if you convert it into dollars. So again, depends on where you are. Maybe if you have a local lab, which I know that a lot of people don't have their local film labs, but sometimes in person is actually cheaper than shipping it over. Frank Vitucci says, getting back into film photography, I have been using my Nikon N90S or F90S for us Europeans here, but have had my eye on Nikon F3 or to save up for a used Leica M6. Both are fantastic choices. You don't need to go for Leica M6 if you're looking at Leica. M2, M3, F4, M4P are all fantastic cameras. Even M5, the ugly duckling of the Leica design, is absolutely brilliant, but the choice between F3 and Leica would be the choice of SLR versus rangefinders, and this is what you will need to answer your question. But yeah, I don't worry about the YouTube darling Leica M6. It's not the best camera in the world. If you have to name the best Leica ever made, in my opinion, it's either Leica MA or MP. M6 is not as good, not as well built even. That's the thing. So that's my personal opinion, controversial opinion. But F3 is, as I say, is probably the best manual focus, Nikon SLR. So you can't go wrong with this. As I say, the only reason I have a FM3, I do like FM3 more because I don't need the swappable accessories and things like that. It's slightly smaller and lighter. But you can't go wrong with any of those. But as I say, with Leica, you know, I wouldn't take M6 as a... M6 is just because... If you Google it on YouTube, yeah, if you search on YouTube, that's what comes up. They're better Leica cameras, in my opinion. All right, here we go. We should have your controversial film opinion at some point. Okay, and F3 is a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper than any Leica. That's the thing. So I think you can buy F3 for now and start to save for saving for Leica, because you can get F3s nowadays not that expensive. You know, they're not that expensive at all. All the high angler says, that was a major issue for me when using 35mm cameras. I have 2 separate Christmas seasons, one on 36 exposures of film, would forget what pictures I had taken. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, one thing to force yourself to shoot all the 36 shots for that event, or switch to 24 frames. I know that some people, they bulk roll, which means they buy a bulk of film and they load it up in their canisters and stuff. And I know that some people just load them up as 12 frames. That means you just go through 12 shots, you know, and yeah, you know, so you suddenly can develop it. But it works more for, like, I would say home developing more than the, let's say, the lab, because lab is going to charge you, let's say, for 24 frames standard or 36 frames standard. So you're going to pay a lot more for the development of less frames if you do it this way. Simon says, I had a Chinon, a CP5 maybe, and broke it on the first film. I put it through. It took so long to shoot that roll. The camera was already out of warranty. Well, Chinon, Zenith cameras, all sorts of, you know, those cameras, the budget, obviously, yeah, they do break a lot more. But, you know, some, like, we've started with those cameras and you've started with those cameras. That's the things. It got you into the game, I guess, you know, so that's the thing. But I was really chuffed when I bought my F100. Was really happy with it, and I shot, I think, for 5-6 years straight with it. That's for sure. Russell says, I just picked up a second F6. Amazing. Thinking about selling my F100 and F5 as sad as it makes me. Well, F6 technically is, well, not F6. F100 is poor man's F6, I would say. So you've got basically the best camera, naked camera in the world, you know, arguably. So, you know, so yes, if you got F6, you're probably fine. You probably can let those F100 and F5 go, you know, but you can also keep it in the shelf and admire them. But that's the thing. But congratulations on your second F6. Amazing camera. So Jim says, I also have F100 F5 and use G-series lenses, so you can change your aperture on the body, which is amazing. Nigel says, I must start using my Ebony large format camera again. I have plenty of Fuji quick load in the freezer to use up. I need to shoot my large format camera as well. I haven't finished my 50 pack of FOMA. Still, you know, I need to finish that. I recently got a pack of Cine Steel 400D in 4x5 format. So it's about 120 pounds and it's 25 shots. Still cheaper per shot compared to something like Portra or Ekta, because you only get 10 shots and they're like 80-90 pounds. So, but also need to do a project. Definitely not pet portraiture project. That's going to be quite tough on the large format to keep my dog still. Tajer says, my first camera was Exa. I believe this was his German camera. Sold it and bought it Praktica, which I still have, but without a battery. Fantastic. Russell says, my first film camera was Minolta Maxim, classic. I used that in high school and college before getting my first DSLR, which was Canon 7D back in 2009. Absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Well, we can always talk film. You know me. It's the problem is going to be 2 of us sitting here. Well, not 2 of us. We have more people, but that's why we do it once a year, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely, I'm happy to talk film any day, any time, any hour of the year. Okay. Andy says, for only 40% of those watching have hit the like button. Hit the like button. Yes. please. If you like it, if you don't, of course, don't. Hit dislike. Still pushes the channel. That's the most important thing. But thank you, Andy, for reminding everyone. Rick says, question, Con, most of all the young folks over here in the US that I know are shooting film, absolutely amazing. But I can tell you that a lot of customers of my lab are young people who are shooting, their day-to-day, their travels, their festivals, you name it, all sorts of things. They're using anything from disposable cameras all the way up to Leicas, So yes, definitely. And that's what keeps the film alive. That's the thing. And I guess it's a difficult one. I always try to think why young people find it hip to shoot film. Like, is it just a cool factor, or is it or is it rejection of digital? Because technically young people, they can happily live with analog and digital side by side without any issue whatsoever. It seems like for the older folks, like they say, oh no, it's all digital nowadays. That's the thing. Why do I need physical media? That's the thing. Young folk, they're kind of happy to mix and match. Which is quite interesting. But I mean, it's another topic for discussion, but it's very interesting. I don't think it's just a cool, it looks cool factor, So that's my thinking here. I can see, as Mr. No says, Kodak Research bringing Kodachrome back, and there's not enough market for it anymore. It also had a rather inefficient development process that they'd rather not deal with again. I agree for now. Never say never, and who knows? That's my other thing. So let's see how far film is going to expand. It's never going to be on the same level as it used to be. Digital is still going to be the king, and majority of people will shoot digital. That's absolutely not an issue whatsoever. But the market can still grow, and the companies may still find at some point things that will make sense financially for them to release. That's the thing. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. Who knows? That's the thing. Question for you before we go. Do you think film is here to stay and continue in that small capacity, in that small role, that is kind of little niche that it craved out for itself? Or do you think it's going to be gone in 5 years? Let me know in the comments below. And we are wrapping up here at this point. Let's see. Falam says, Nikon should finally make a Z version of rangefinder, small as they can, and sell billions of copies. Had a chat with Nikon on Wednesday. They laughed at this idea, so I can tell you that. So that means it's not in the books. That's what I can tell you. I think, as I say, we've discussed this. Technically, SLR or rangefinder film based on Z lenses is pretty much impossible for a very simple reason. You will need to design a set of lenses. So it's not just releasing a film camera based on being able to take. So think about that. Let's say autofocus sensor on cameras like a 5 f100 that was sitting under the mirror, so you had the prism. Light goes into the prism where you see the image, but some light falls onto AF sensor. AF sensor now is on the sensor itself, on the image sensor itself. So it's not just taking the sensor out, if you see what I mean. There's a lot more will go into this, and there's a lot more will need to be released like lenses. And I think that's why it doesn't make financial sense. Would I buy one if they release one tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I don't think it's in the books, unfortunately. Colin asking, what lens would you recommend for D850 scanning? To be honest with you, like the Pentax 645 lens, if you buy adapter F-mount to Pentax 645 and buy this lens, about £200 on eBay, adapter is going to cost you another 100 quid. This 200 Pentax 645 lens is macro, is absolutely amazing. It's basically, I forgot the name of it, but basically everything is sharp throughout the range, so there's no fall off or anything like this. So just very close to kind of those enlarger lenses in a way. So they were designed for copying things. So that's what it is. Yeah, like you can play with Nikon ones. Again, you will need to stop them down. So see what it is. But Pentax 645, that's what I have at the moment. That's what I can recommend. So I've tested quite a few lenses at the time. Roy's F3 has 250 shot back. Here you go, Roy. It's time. It's time for you to get ready. Get that 30 meters worth of HP5 or something like this. So Kentmere, and just get one of those. Thank you, Kirill Grushko. He says no comment, but $4.99. You could have bought a roll of film on this one. Thank you, Kirill. We appreciate it. Okay, I'm just going to quickly scroll down. I think we're going to wrap up today. I have things to show you on scanning and on other things, but I guess we have to come back next week for another film discussion. No, I'm kidding. Next week is going to be next week. We're going to go back to our normal. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but thank you everyone for joining us today. First of all, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. You were the brave ones who who stuck for that film live stream. I know it's not every one cup of coffee, but it's been absolute blast for me to see you and see this lively discussion in the chat. As I say, sometimes we discuss things and you can see the chat is a bit kind of like stale, like people not commenting. That means probably the topic is boring, if you see what I mean. So I can see that this topic is quite polarizing. It's quite interesting for a lot of people. But thank you everyone for joining me today. If you haven't shot film, maybe it's time to buy yourself a raw film, especially if you bought a film camera. If you haven't bought a film camera yet, then, start with that. And, but get yourself a roll of film, shoot it over the weekend, get it processed and developed, maybe yourself, maybe with a lab. Support your local lab, which is very important. Support your local photographic dealer as well. And share some of those shots, especially of your pets, for our June photography challenge, which is pet photography. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us.